Okay, so we're going to run through the first Final Fantasy of these new repixeled editions. I kind of played around with it a little bit before, just seeing if I liked how the options were all set up and whatnot. Um, really like the art style on this. They really did a good job, I think, repixeling or remastering this. I had mixed opinions of some of the remasters that they've done of these earlier Final Fantasies. I wasn't really a fan of what they did with 3 with the chibi art style. And 2, well, I really don't care what they do with 2 because 2 has it's Final Fantasy 2 is the Dark Souls 2 of the Final Fantasy series. Kind of like Zelda 2 is different. But I got the original Final Fantasy on my Nintendo pretty much when it came out when I was like, 9, 10. So one of my buddies picked up a copy first, and after watching him play it, it was like, I gotta go pick up a copy of this. And it was actually kind of surprising because it was one of the few Nintendo games that was at the premium price point, at least in the Pomida in my small town, at $60, which, that's kind of surprising. A lot of Nintendo games at the time were around $40. Of course, this is in like 1980s money, so it's kind of funny how today, like, I won't buy a new game generally if it's like $60. I'll usually wait for it to go on sale or something, unless it's something I'm really excited in and have a lot of interest in. So it is kind of funny how the price point of video games hasn't changed, despite the fact 1980s money was considerably more valuable, and $60 in 1980 was a lot larger than $60 is today. But yeah, I remember getting this, and I played the ever-loving heck out of it. Now, my first guild group was actually the default. I didn't change anything. I read, and it's like, oh, the thief can become a ninja. That's going to be great. This class is going to be awesome. My buddy actually ran with the monk, and kind of regretted my choice with the thief later on once I saw what the monk was capable of doing. They were really quite high damage. They had a little bit of weirdness of when you leveled up, their armor levels would kind of get screwed up, and you'd have to open up the window to look at it again. And of course, this is back before the internet really was a thing, so none of us really knew that. We just knew that, like, the monk would get broken for some reason, like when he would level up. And similarly, we noticed, like, some of the spells certainly didn't seem to do what they were supposed to do either. Some of them actually, if you read through the bug list, you'll see that, like, Lock 2 basically did the opposite of what it was supposed to do. Similarly, some of the other things, like all of the Bane items, never really worked. You'd get, like, the Were Sword, and it wouldn't do anything special against were creatures, and you'd be like, well, what the heck is this supposed to do? My favorite group was always this. This always seemed like the most overpowered group to me, was basically this. Of course, the Black Mage always felt underpowered, and that was another bug that existed with the game, which was basically the intelligence stat didn't work properly. So your Black Mage actually didn't do the level of damage he was supposed to do, but the Black Mage got the Cat Claw later on, which is pretty awesome. I always felt like the White Mage was the dead weight in the party, honestly. Their hammers are terrible. Their melee is just garbage. But, White Mage, healing, pretty handy. Similarly, there was like a bug with Heal or Heal 2, where it would actually do more healing than it was supposed to, which made it very handy. Plus the White Mage, you could use things like what later on you'd get the Thor's Hammer, which you just use over and over, which I believe was Lightning 2. And then the White Shirt was Invis or Invis 2, and it basically made it so that your White Mage was pretty useful for buffing the heck out of the party, because Invis was actually one of the things that worked. The only problem with this build of this party is 2 warriors are really expensive. The monk is dirt cheap. You basically don't give him anything. You tell him to go fight naked. The first few levels you give him nunchucks because he's pretty low damage, but later on you're just like, just punch the things. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll like maybe use a potion on you or something if you're hurt. The thief was supposed to be your running class, but that also was a thing that didn't work properly in the game. Didn't know it at the time, but the thief, when they turn into it, the ninja is exclusively can get the katana, which is one of the best non-Masamune weapons in the game. It is kind of funny when you got it on the old NES and you're like, you get excited because you see the new graphic and then the ninja swings his katana and it looks like a little dagger and you're kind of disappointed, but it did actually make him so the thief wasn't completely awful. Usually I would give the warrior the Masamune because the white mage would have Thor's hammer and then the black mage would have the cat claw. That said, I'm gonna run a slightly different party than what I normally did, and I experimented with this, and so I kind of ran some things ahead of time here, just kind of testing it out, but I'm actually gonna go with the red mage and commit a cardinal sin of not having a dedicated healer in my party, because the heck with that. And I'm actually going to go with some of my classic character names from back in the day. These are going to let me have to click to make it. I think, yeah. I'm not going to type these out manually. And back in the original NES, you could only use 4 character names, so I picked these names from a book I had just recently read. I'll change this one to just my abbreviated name, but that's correct. These 3 are actually from a book I read back when I was, these 3 right here were from a book I read right as I was actually playing this game, so I kind of just swiped the names out of the book. Basically, the old Pool of Radiance, which also were a fun set of games that I also enjoyed playing, but yeah, these were the main 3 characters in the book. Another 1980s, 1970s, maybe even Dungeons and Dragons book, because I'm a nerd. Oh, let's begin. Get that mouse out of the way. So distracting. World lies shrouded in darkness. The winds die. Seas rage. The earth decays. Although, if I remember correctly in the old NES manual, I think it was the earth begins to rot, not decays. The people believe in a prophecy, patiently awaiting its fulfillment. When the darkness veils the world, the 4 warriors of light shall come. After a long journey, 4 young travelers did at last appear. And in the hand of each was clutched a crystal. Now, if I remember correctly, they said orb in the NES manual, not crystal. But you know, Final Fantasy, they've put all their they've cast their lot. Yeah, I mostly already know this. That's better. I pretty much played through this game about 1,000 times, so I should pretty much know where I'm going. Not that it's that big of a game world. But it's kind of nice having the mini map up without not having to press select and B. Yeah, no, I really like the repixeling here. I mean, even the artwork is just really well done. They really put some effort into this. I know some people complained about the font. I think it's fine. Some people just like to always need something to complain about. I mean, that map's a little large, but it is really nice and clear and well done. It's probably clearer than it was on the NES on a CRT television. Anyway, I should probably get geared up. King is searching for the prophesized warriors of light. With those crystals, you must see the king at once. Yeah, see, they didn't do this to you in the original game. Welcome, travelers. I'm told you carry crystals. Is this true? On the mobile remakes, they do the same thing. Characters hold up the actual crystals. It's just as Lucan's prophecy foretold, when darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. Your Majesty, we cannot be certain that these are the warriors foretold by the prophecy. We just let anyone in? Yet they stand before us with the crystals. I cannot dismiss this as mere coincidence. Crystal bearers, there is a task I would ask of you. Would you rescue my daughter, Sarah? Garland, a knight once in His Majesty's service, has abducted Princess Sarah. I ask for your aid in the name of His Majesty, the King of Cornelia. Garland has taken refuge in the Chaos Shrine, which lies to our north. Of course, we did attempt to save the princess ourselves, but Garland is the finest swordsman in the kingdom. We have none who can match him. I've heard that you wish to journey to the continent to our north. The bridge leading north was lost long ago, making passage impossible, and I'm a terrible king and do not believe in trade with my neighboring cities, so I refuse to rebuild it. If you can rescue Sarah, I will have the bridge rebuilt as a token of my gratitude. Go now, warriors of light. Do not fail me. Yeah. So, we gotta go rescue the princess. Just some dancing girl. Yeah, spoilers. Dancing girl knows some stuff. Of course, they kind of remake her in the remade versions to be your, like, Navi or whatever that says, hey, listen, we need to go here, or you should go here. To the Chaos Shrine. That is not what it was called originally. It's like Temple of the Ancients, or Ruin of the Ancients, or Shrine of the Ancients. It's like, do I just like have these crystals like hanging out like in there? Just like, hey, look at my crystals. I mean, look at that mini map though in the corner. It's so crisp. I love it. It really is well done. They fixed a few bugs. The mystery invisible person isn't wandering around up there anymore. Obviously there's some loot in there, but we can't get that yet. Yeah. Yep, the Mystic Key. Now, it's good we are paying 2 old men to stand around and say the same thing. Once again, I don't think this king makes sound economic decisions. Especially since, like, apparently none of his soldiers can apparently deal with Garland, but you know, these 4 random weirdos that are holding special rocks, like, yeah, we'll send them. So, let's see. Yeah, I'm generally more of a fan of higher accuracy weapons than I am of higher attack weapons. I mean, doing more hits usually makes up for the lower attack, but also missing just triggers me, makes me so angry. But like, what's nice about this is I can go on by, let's buy 3 of those, buy 1 of those. I'll just tell everyone to put your stuff on. YouTube. Oh, I didn't even have to. I guess they came with knives. So, yeah. Oh, hey. Yeah. And sell the staff. How are we doing for cash? Oh, we got plenty. Just oodles of it. No. Yes. It's actually one of the nice things about the Red Mage. Now, some of the things I've been reading have said the Red Mage doesn't quite get the hit points that it used to, which on the NES I'd always put the Red Mage in my second position if I had one, because they actually tended to be pretty tanky. Apparently, in the name of balance, they went and adjusted that. So that's kind of sad. So we're gonna go and make Black Mage our purely aggressive. And we will give focus to Red Mage. Secure. Unfortunately, that is one of the things the Red Mage cannot equip is the harm spell lines or the anti-undead, because this is again kind of steeped in your tropes of role-playing games, which everything would pretty much just took stuff from Dungeons and Dragons and said, well, clerics can turn undead, so white mages are clerics, so they get the turn undead, which they called Dia now, but the past it's just called harm. since we're gonna be pretty tank, and obviously we can't get Blink either, so we're pretty limited in the first level we can take. Some of these things change as the red mage turns into a red wizard, but I mean, Blink is nice, but it's not really all that essential because the red mage it's gonna be a lot tankier than the white mage was. So in the old NES game, you could not fully kit out your characters initially. You had to go kill a few, well, what they called imps back in the day. Now they're goblins, I believe. And each one of these stores only had 4 items, so you didn't have like all of these things. So you had to remember that the soft potions, or the gold needle as they're called now, were in like the elf village, and then you'd have to go there to stock up on those because you're going to go fight a bunch of cockatrices or other things that would do horrible stuff to you. I don't even remember if there was actually a silence cure back in the day. I think you just had to accept that your character was silenced, and the only way you could find out that your character wasn't silenced anymore would be to try to cast a spell and see if your character's still silenced. Phoenix Downs definitely weren't a thing. If your white mage died and you didn't have like a red mage to res him, you were hauling your butt back to town. And there were no high potions or ethers. You just had potions. So a few things are a little easier than the original. Once again, some more spoilers about pirates. Probably another old man here. Yeah. Little mini map telling you where you need to go. Now, one of the things they did change from the mobile versions is we're actually back to your traditional Dungeons and Dragons. You've got 2 spells this level. You can cast 2 of these spells. That's it. In the mobile versions, they put in MP, which honestly trivializes the game. The other thing is you can forget spells. In the NES version, you were stuck with what you learned. And so you had to look at the little poster that they gave you, and you could see that the red mage can't learn this spell now, but when he turns into a red wizard, he can. So you'd have to keep a blank spot in your spell book to make room for that spell later on. Of course, now they made it, you could just forget things. You don't have to stick with. Yeah, they call them goblins now. But see, again, 2 hits. That is why I like accuracy weapons. It's kind of... Now, see, these guys never showed up in this area, and they were also called Gray Imps, not... or I always called them Grimps, because basically they would always put like a big G, little R, and then Imp in all caps. Everything was always all caps. With the exception of... Interesting that the thief is already doing so much. 2 hits already. So yeah, like, that's that lower health gain thing. And I was playing around with this a little earlier, and it's like the black mage ended up having more health than the red mage. I mean, not that it matters too much because the red mage is sitting in chainmail, so he's pretty beefy. Guess it's one of those balance things, though. Just gonna grind up a few levels here and then go kill Garland. I remember when you'd first start doing this, and you just had to grind to get the money for your spells. I mean, you didn't start. You maybe had enough to buy, I guess, like 3 spells total with your party funds and kit out your warrior and whatever your second character, your flex spot was. Actually remember spending a lot of time just doing this. Back and forth. Wolves being in this area is also a new thing that they were not there before. Of course, in the original NES version, you selected guys to only hit the first character. They would automatically miss if the character was dead. You had to actually tell your people. See, it's just really low health gain on the red mage. Whereas before, I would say they're about the same as the thief for gaining health. The class that gained the most was always the black belt. Black belt just gained. It was really easy to get your black belt on basically capped health in the original NES. But yeah, you had to plan your attacks out and say, okay, I think this thing is almost dead. I'll have my black mage poke it, and then I'll put my big hitters on this thing that I haven't hit yet. It's probably a sign it's time to move on. The next place I always go is hang out in this swamp up here and maybe find some creeps. This is where you'd first start fighting some of the gray imps too. I think they call creeps gigas, or no, gigas are giants. The creeps I think are like worms or something now. But I remember always getting excited when I get a creep because creep was worth so much money. Oh! Hello! My characters are no longer gonna level in sync. That didn't take long. Maybe you shouldn't have died to the horse, idiot. Kind of annoying. Alright. Keeping with tradition, the thief is always the first to die. Loser. Kind of thief is he? Can't even pickpocket. The Zelda owl. Do you want to hear what I have to say again? Ooh, can go learn level 2 spells. Well, guess it. Hey, nope. First things first. So, get out of the way. I mean, potions are nice, but in reality, what I really want are these. Probably should pick up some potions too. Go hang out in the swamp, get some potion money. Oh, hey, look, my thief didn't level up. I'm gonna be bitter about that for the rest of this playthrough. Oh, dang it. Bad, and you should feel bad, thief. You're only here because I want you to use the katana. Your ability to cast black range spells is actually not terrible. Oh, look at that. I mean, I do love those graphics. They are very, very true to the original. I mean, obviously they've got more colors per region because you could only have 2 colors per 4x4 or 8x8 region on a sprite on the Nintendo. So the old imps are basically pretty close to that. I mean, they're red and orange with a little bit of white in some spots. This area, if I remember correctly, can occasionally have spiders. Which, knowing my thief, he'll probably get poisoned. Just beating on the poor thief. Still hasn't leveled. Right. Old habits die hard. I don't actually have to do that in this one. Alright. I'm gonna run back. Try not to die to any horses. I always remember being really happy whenever I got those horses in the original because they were 15 gold and 15 experience, which was huge. It was way better than like the 1 or 2 experience imps. $30 gil. Expensive ass hotel. I guess if you've only got 4 beds in 1 room. What are we doing for gil? Alright. 4 short, but whatever. Just buy a few potions just in case. Always good to have a potion or 2. Buying those on the old NES was awful because you'd always want to buy a stack before you'd go into like the harder content, and you'd use them up pretty quickly and you'd have to replenish them, and buying each one was, you click potion and then the storekeeper would say, this is 50 gil. Do you want to purchase this? Actually, it'd say gold. Gil didn't exist. Just use the old-fashioned standard gold. And so you have to go through like 3 menus to buy each potion. Generally, what you wanted to do was have one of those turbo controllers, and you just basically put a weight on the A button and just walk away. Come back in like 15 minutes after all your potions are bought. So this can be bad. This is one of those situations where having Dia is actually a really nice thing. We're gonna try to have him not die. The original game came with a it was probably a 20 by 16 by probably a 16 by 20 poster that had every monster on it with the exception of Chaos. You know what though? We'll give that to you, Mr. I Die to Horses. Rename this character. This actually would have been a good group for probably putting to sleep. But it listed the hit point range, the vulnerabilities and immunities, the special status effects these critters could do. Oh, look, my thief didn't level up. Yeah, black mage has more health than the red mage. Yeah, it's at balance. I mean, it's not going to matter much later on when we need hundreds of XP. There we go. Yeah, these used to be creeps. Stop dying, you coward. Yeah, sure. Actually kill the threat. These are locked. The one in the southeast corner is also locked. Oh. Little spooked. Okay. Or correctly, bows can paralyze. Should be Really, game? Huh. Oh, that's kind of nice. The king will have no choice but to exchange the kingdom for his daughter's life. Cornelia will be mine. Who's there? Oof, the king's lapdogs. Do you have any idea who you're messing with? You really think you have what it takes to cross swords with me? Very well. I, Garland, will knock you all down. I think the original Nassif's cut you all down. Ooh. Fancy. Focus used to be called lock, but basically just ups. Ups the to hit. Swear to God, if you kill my black mage. Hey, look at him, he's harmless. He hits you for 2 damage. Yeah, that's right. Beat on the warrior. Oh, look. The thief didn't level up. Sarah, Princess of Cornelia, words could never be enough to thank you. That's the first time anyone's ever defeated Garland. Probably why the bridge was never rebuilt, because the king knows that any other country can just come in and invade and take him over, because apparently soldiers not too tough. You must allow me to show my gratitude. Please accompany me to Castle Cornelia. Yeah, in the original one you had to walk back. Here it's just like you can warp. Thank you for returning my daughter to my side. There can be no doubt that you are the warriors of light from Lucan's prophecy. You should hear the prophecy in its entirety, if I may. Oh, God. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. They cannot gather the shards of light, darkness will consume all. The 4 crystals will never shine again. Now, I hear that a crystal can be found on the continent to our north. I have the 4 crystals. Restoring light to the crystals is our only hope for ridding the world of the monsters which plague it. I will have the bridge to the north rebuilt, as I promised. I pray that you will succeed in restoring light to the 4 crystals and to the world. Now they give us the loot, which is an item that you're like the whole game. Why do I have this? What is it for? Castle scene is something they added in the remakes. Orders from His Majesty were to do our part to fulfill Lucan's prophecy. What does this bridge have to do with the prophecy? Who knows? 4 warriors of light are here. They're here in Cornelia. It seems kind of funny. Just any 4 weirdos could show up with some rocks and say, hey, we're here to save the world. Buy a couple of these to... Smart man would have probably kept 30 gil for the inn. So let's go get some gil so we can take a nap. Oh, the thief killer. See, thief? That's how you not die to a horse. Alright. With that, let's say continue the adventure later.